Throughout the Israeli aggression and terrorism against the Palestinian people, scores of thousands of Palestinians have been rendered either killed, wounded, or detained. A part of the impact of such an aggression has been the people with disabilities who remain an eyewitness to the brutality of the occupation. People with disabilities are showered with suffering and misery, from medicated at hospitals to relying on a stick or a wheelchair that turn their lives into merely an imprisonment. Five 5% of Gaza's 1.5 million residents are people with disabilities. More than a third of such handicapped live under extremely harsh conditions. Most of the rehabilitation centers in Gaza have been working with less than half of their capacity because of the Israeli siege, while many other relevant institutions or hospitals, such as the Al-Wafa Center, have been deliberately targeted by the Israeli occupation.
Regards to the statistics of disabled here in Palestine, there are conflicting reports and various reports. Some reports put the number at thousands, which represents around 3% of Palestinian population. Others put it at 4% of Palestinian population, and this is more evident here in Gaza Strip due to the large casualties due to the Israeli repeated aggressions and invasions of Gaza Strip. But I think that the number of disabled is much, much higher if we are going to conduct a proper survey or proper research here in Gaza Strip. For the reasons behind these disabilities, I think there are various reasons, but especially over the last 10 years, the major cause of all disabilities were Israeli assaults and invasions and the use of these unlawful weapons, the kind of explosive devices and explosive bullets used during these aggressions have caused a huge numbers of spinal cord injuries, head injuries, and various disabilities.
Nevertheless, rehabilitation of people with disabilities remains a policy line for the local community in a way that would guarantee the basic human right of disabled men, women, and children.
This requires all Arabic, Islamic, and humanitarian institutions to largely support institutions of humanitarian rehabilitation of the disabled in order to have integrated and complete rehabilitation process that the disabled in the Gaza Strip need, particularly the new disabled whose rehabilitation requires from 6 to 10 months, which includes psychological and medical rehabilitation and training them to use assisting tools. Moreover, to help them to adapt with disabilities and sitting on wheelchairs after they had lost some of their organs, senses, or parts of their bodies. This requires large medical and psychological rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation takes various forms, starting from home and ending with the local community.
I will always give them a mental post. That is their fate, and hopefully their injury is not dangerous. I tell them you will come back better than before. You will participate your activities, fancies and study. This is a cruel period, and it will be ended. Truly, it's so cruel and painful, but hopefully and by God, we will come back better than before.
Children with disabilities are the most affected category of handicapped in Gaza. Having been hanging out in their society like butterflies, they are now imprisoned within their rooms, relying on a stick or a wheelchair. Such a new situation makes those children vulnerable to stress, as the rehabilitation process becomes harder.
What is my fault that made them to shoot me? They saw me. I'm a 14-year-old boy. I carried no weapons or grenades. Why did they shoot me? What can I say about them?
The rehabilitation and integration of children with disabilities inside their society are not easy tasks in the absence of a professional personnel, equipment and machines. Moreover, the continued Israeli closure of Gaza poses a major obstacle. Children with disabilities have a right to education. However, they have been forced to stay away from their classrooms due to such disabilities. Hence, governments and community-based institutions are required to enable such disabled children to join the education process as normally as many other children.
في قائمة في التربية والتعليم بأسماء كل الأطفال المصابين الذين لا يستطيعون.
There is a list of names of wounded students who cannot go to the schools in the Ministry of Education. The Educational Administration reported for schools that have such children to send a group of teachers in daily and weekly program to give them capacitor lectures in the key lessons. Thank for God, we did not find any difficulty in the plan. We found students accept the program with high morality. Truly, teachers exerted large efforts and covered the educational material for students. This program was very